Hi, everyone. My name is Carrie Morgan, and I am the host of this Holistic Empire Summit. And I have the privilege of interviewing women all over the world so that you can unleash your purpose, gain that prosperity, and step up and start making the profit that you desire in your business and in your life. And we have really placed an amazing group of speakers together for you so that you can see that you need to show up and really step forward into the life that you want, right? Step into that power, own that space, and start creating exactly what you want every single day with every breath. So today we have Tepsii. I almost did it, right? I almost said it wrong. So she is an amazing woman that helps you really understand how to copyright and get all of your strategies together for your online business. I'm going to let her dive a little bit deeper into exactly what she does and how she helps online women really step up into their light.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here after meeting you in New York, and now we're across the world from each other, but we can still communicate, and that's the beauty of having an online business. So I am a copywriting teacher. I also work with select few clients to write their sales pages and website, as well as doing business consulting and coaching, because when I started to grow my business, a lot of creative people, designers, writers were like, what is up with you? What are you doing that I'm not doing? And can you help me? And so I said, sure, let's see if I can, because I wasn't really sure. I was like, I don't know if there's a formula to this. How can I teach it? And I discovered that I could teach it. So I launched my program called Sold Out and Book Solid. And in that program, I help creative people, coaches, designers, writers to start and scale their online businesses. And my clients have had great success, like their first 5K months and beyond, starting from almost zero. So it's really, really exciting to be in this space and to help women curate the life of their dreams.
Yeah, thank you for that. And so, like, if I met you out in public and when you left my presence, what would be one word that best described you as a business owner or as a woman?
The one word that best describes me is tenacious. Like, I'm the type of person who does not give up. I never stop moving. If I have some kind of block or some kind of situation that stops me, I find a way, either find a mentor or help or a friend or a book, something to help me overcome the situation. And it's like, I have been through so much in my life. And at 32 years old, you would think, I've lived enough to be, 60 or 70 years old. And that is, to me, the beauty of being alive. And I always talk to my clients and my students about being vulnerable as a marketing tool and moving from that vulnerability into visibility. And so for me, that's what being tenacious represents. It's like, okay, we're all, vulnerable at some point in time. When are you going to start, going after your dreams and being tenacious and fearless and just, a go-getter in life?
Yeah, that's perfect. I do love that. I really feel we need more of that, right? We get so caught up in the things that we have to do or what people think we should be like, instead of just owning that power and really being out there and sharing our message. So how long have you been in business, but also how has your past aligned you in your current business, right? Because once we look back, we say, oh, now everything makes place. All the dots are coming together so that I can see exactly why I'm here right now at this level.
So my past experience was I have a degree in communication, but of course, that getting a degree isn't the same thing as mastery.
Yeah.
So I got that degree, and that's like my backup. And I remember all the research and all the theories that I learned. And now in my business, I actually get to apply some of those things. Like, the theory around in communication around why people are attracted to other people, whether attracted as friends or, want to work with somebody in business or love, whatever, that, attraction attraction. I actually studied attraction. And now I get to use that in my business and go like, oh, okay. So I know that people will trust me if I do these types of things. I know people will like me if I do these types of things. I know that for sure people will trust and like somebody who shows that they make mistakes once in a while. You know, if you're not so perfect, if you're not so shiny behind that like Pinterest or Instagram type of feed and you show that you're a real person, you know, those are the types of things that I learned in my background that I apply now. And before I started my business in March 2015, I was a technical writer and project manager in Washington, D.C., working in corporate military environments. And there I didn't get to use my whole heart. I feel like I only got to use a very small part of my skill set. And so for that reason, I had the biggest desire to go after my passion and work with other heart-centered people to grow my business.
Great. Awesome. So I would love to know how you master your 24 hours as a female entrepreneur. Like, what is some key alignments that help you stay going, moving forward in your business?
So mastering 24 hours, you know, you always hear that we all have the same 24 hours as Beyonce and look what she's doing. And I'm like, do not compare yourself to Beyonce. Because unless you have a nanny and a stylist and a makeup artist and a publicist and could I go on with all the people that she's for her? We're not all living the life of Beyonce, and that's okay. You can start where you are. And so for me in the beginning, when I was very first starting my business, I did not have mastery over my 24 hours. I'm going to be really honest with you and tell you that I was working a lot because I was committed to growing my business, committed to getting out of the status quo that I was in and in that corporate job that I really was not enjoying anymore because I just didn't enjoy the subject matter. And so I was working 8 hours a day on my day job and between 8 to 10 hours a day on my business to grow it. And so a lot of people will tell me like, well, I'm just starting out and I don't have time and I'm working all this and I'm doing all that. And I'm kind of like, I don't know, you're telling somebody who doesn't have that much sympathy because in the beginning, you've got to go all in, you know, you got to be tenacious. Mm-hmm. After that period where, you know, the first 2 months were insane and I grew my business very quickly, made $25,000 in the first 2 months. And I was soaking everything up. I was doing every strategy that I knew that would work for me. I was unrelenting. And that's when I was able to like ease up, you know, I'm like, okay, I've made this money. This looks like it's successful for sure. I have a steady stream of clients. I understand what I'm doing. And now, okay, I can get some help. Okay. So, you know, I started getting more people in, babysitting, you know, people to help me around the house and things like that so that I could master my day. But the thing that I start my day with is journaling, meditation, mindset work, praying. That's the thing that helps me master the most. And then beyond that is physical fitness. I realized that while I was growing my business, I was so obsessed with growing that I wasn't paying as much attention to myself, you know, internally from the inside out. And so physical fitness and mindset are the two things that will allow you to, or allow me that, and I think for anybody to sort of get a hold of the rest of your day.
Yes, so true, right? Because we have definitely forgot about it starts from the inside. And when you're making sure that your intention is really good, you need to clean up your inside so that you can shine on the outside, right? Because that's where it starts. That's where people fail. When they get somewhere really, really high and then they fall down, is because they didn't feel like they were good enough inside, right? So that brings us right into maybe when like shit hits the fan, exactly what happens in your day. How do you get back? What trigger word do you use? What type of balance and awareness do you do, or a daily ritual to get you back in the game, right? Because we all have those days where we have everything planned out, everything's supposed to work perfectly as an entrepreneur, and then boom, our child gets sick, we have to go to the school or something, you know, like we're a mom, like this is what happens. So yeah, if you could just go in a little bit deeper, that would be great.
So I work a lot on, or I can say I practice a lot. I don't like to say it's work because a lot of my clients are like mindset work. No, it's mindset practice because it's something you've got to do for the rest of your life. But it's creating the image of success in my mind so that like I celebrate the wins, no matter how big or small. I'm spending a lot of time celebrating the wins and less time focusing on the failure. So when something happens, I know, you know that things are going to happen. So I look at all the things that I'm scared of, all my big fears, and all the things that I'm afraid will go wrong in the first place. And I list those things out and I go like, why am I afraid of this? So maybe, in the beginning, I was really, really afraid of doing webinars. And when I was doing webinars, the thing I was scared of the most was being seen, being visible, and also the tech. So then it's like, oh, okay, well, those are kind of warnings to you. Those are kind of the things that maybe you should work on and pay attention to the most. And so really focus on, people say, don't focus on the negative and on the fear. No, your fear is a warning sign to you. So, go and actually create contingency plans to make sure that you are successful. Go practice your tech, or go practice being visible, go practice running your webinar, doing whatever it is that you're afraid of. But when things go wrong, I just laugh, because I know it's going to work out. In the end, it always does. I'm still here. I'm still standing. And you wouldn't believe how many things have gone wrong. I've had done webinars and nobody bought. Or I've gone live with a really exciting announcement and my cell phone connection kind of is bad. It's crappy sometimes. And it is what it is, right? And so I just kind of have to say, that's what's happening right now. Just smile and keep it moving. In fact, just now we were supposed to launch our membership site called Born to Convert. It was supposed to go live at 1 p.m. Eastern. 1 p.m. Eastern came and went. My news feed from Facebook is full of people saying, well, I'm waiting. Like I'm clicking every 5 minutes, I'm refreshing, and I'm getting emails in my inbox. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what do I do? So I said to my husband, should I go and tell them like it's not ready? Like it's going to be ready soon, but it's not ready. He tells me no. But in looking back, I should have probably gone and let them know. Learn from me when things aren't working. Let people know, like be transparent, because they feel sympathy for you because they know what you're doing, because we're all in the same space. They get it. They understand their moms or dads or whatever. They've got responsibilities, maybe even fur babies or whatever. So your people get you. They're attracted to you for a reason, and they're going to keep loving you. So don't try to put up a veneer of perfection. Just keep it moving. Just take the next step. I came here in the middle of a quote-unquote lost disaster, and I'm still smiling. I'm still happy. I'm still knowing that everything is going to turn out well for me in the end. So
that's perfect.
I'm sorry you're talking. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Could you hear me? I'm so sorry. I just had this fit. I don't know where that came from, but no, that's absolutely perfect, because we've all been there, and we have to remember that this process is, it's a long journey, and we have to just keep moving forward. Don't ever let anyone stop you from really feeling something that you feel deep down inside. And let's play a role play, right? So maybe I'm going to be your client, or I want to learn how to do better copywriting. What would be some great examples that you can tell people on how to up-level their copy so they can attract more clients into their life? I think it was about me, pay me, right, is your slogan, or the things that you like to pull out of your clients and get them how to think differently. So let's go deeper into the mindset part and how that relates to people understanding how they need to be vulnerable, with their copy so that they can attract the ideal customer or the idea tribe that they want.
So when it comes to copy, a lot of people come from a corporate background, and from corporate, we try so hard to be formal, right? You're taught to be formal and to use proper grammar and English and all this stuff. And when it comes to copywriting, it's really about writing like you speak, because you are a brand, a personal brand, and people want to connect to other people. They don't want to connect to a logo. They don't want to connect to a corporate statement. They want to connect to you. So tip number 1 is to write like you speak. And oftentimes people are like, but I don't know how I speak. I don't know how to capture that. And so I tell them, you can record yourself, go listen back. For me, probably looking back at this interview and going like, that's how I express myself. Interesting. And taking some of those hints away, that would be a really great thing. If you have a hard time looking at a blank screen and you're one of those people who gets like blank screen paralysis and you freak out, I would tell you, don't start with a blank screen. I don't even start with a blank screen. I start with the templates that I've developed, like the About Me to Pay Me template that I have that shows you how to write an about page probably in under 30 minutes. For some people, under an hour. And step by step, it's got prompts in there to tell you what to write next. And then you delete the prompts when you're done, and voila, you've got a finished product. And then thing number 3 that I always like to say to people is, they come to me and they say, I've never been a good writer. I've never been able to communicate. I've never been able to express myself. My English teacher told me I sucked, whatever it is, and they've got to really walk around it. And let me tell you that in college, I studied communication. It required a lot of writing and a lot of research. And one of my professors told me that I was the worst writer that she had ever encountered in her academic career, and that I should probably change majors because college was not a place for euphemisms, and that I just didn't fit in there. And today I get paid thousands of dollars to do the very thing she told me that I sucked at, because I didn't listen to her. Because I was like, you can think whatever you want to think, and I don't know why you think that, but I know that's not true. But for those of you who struggle with those kinds of memories or those kinds of, limits that are either self-imposed or have been imposed on you by others, I start by saying, like, one of the mantras I have all my students saying is, I am a brilliant writer. I communicate easily and effortlessly. I have fun when I write, and the words just flow out of my fingertips. And when you come from that energy, it's light and it's fun and it's fluid and it just pours out of you. One of my students named Emma came to me and said, when she first, before she signed up to work with me, she was told that she writes in abbreviations and emojis like a high schooler. And she said that person thought that she was really young when they first started interacting with her on Facebook, because they just were like, you don't know how to communicate. And she joined my program. I taught her all the strategies and gave her all the templates that she needed. And today, I think she's good enough to go out there and market herself as a copywriter. Like, she's that good. So it's all about changing your mindset and getting the right tools under your belt.
Perfect. Because the story it's that story that we play in our head, right? We've all been there. Like, I was the girl that got the English paper back with all the red marks all over it. I'm like, Jesus, I thought it was a good paper, Like, you're sitting there and like, you got like, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And still to this day, I swear that the whole where we were never diagnosed when we were younger, right, with the ADHD and that kind of thing, but I know I probably have it, right, because I know I'm saying one thing, but by the time I get to the paper, I'm missing like some of the words, so I have to go back and read it. But we've all been there, and we all have had that story. And I love your bravery of knowing a decision and standing to it, right? And that's the problem a lot of us have with having a decision, but waffling, like you're not sure about your decision. If someone tells you you're not good, then you kind of back off, right? But instead of owning that space and owning that energy, and that's what it's about, knowing no matter what, that this is what you want to do and you're going to get the work done. That brings us right into most women don't know how to work through their day as an entrepreneur, right? So it would be great if you can give us like maybe a power a day. Well, maybe today, because I know you're working on your thing, and I know so. But a day that, like, what time do you get up, and what would be your intention, and how do you get through? What type of sales process do you do? Because that's what people need to understand. How to function inside their day when they're coming from a corporate job and they're trying to be an entrepreneur, and that shift, right? Of no one's telling you what to do. You have to do it. You have to know what moves your business forward. That would be awesome if you can elaborate for everyone, please.
So before I went full-time in my business, I went full-time. I started in March 2015. I went full-time in middle of May 2015. And then I was fitting my business in around my job. So I was lucky enough to have a telework job. So I would, at my lunchtime, take client meetings on the phone or on Skype, and I would be doing the carpool and put my phone on the Bluetooth And I'd also do discovery calls and different things on there. So for me at that time, it was all about squeezing in my business into my life. Like I just had to make it work in my life.
I love
And
it.
yeah, I just knew that like, okay, I'm going to turn off this hat right now and turn this business hat on. And I would tell my clients, because I'm a personal brand, not like corporate, okay, I have a baby in the background. You might hear the baby. They'd say, that's fine. As long as you can talk to me and as long as I know you're going to give me value, I want to work with you. So whatever it takes, like I would breastfeed and I would literally just do this with my camera and like, so that you could always see my head and I would just breastfeed. So as a working mom or working entrepreneur in general, I advise you to just look at the blocks of time that you've got in your day and start to schedule in your business activities at those times. You might think that you're too busy to fit anything else in, but I guarantee you have at least an hour, maybe 2 hours, maybe 3 hours that you're wasting Netflixing, doing all types of other things that you could be doing your business in. Okay, so back then, my schedule was crazy. I don't even want to describe it to you, but I was waking up early. I still had an infant, so I was waking up through the night to change her diapers and do things. And I had a 2-year-old also that I kept at home on the days that I teleworked 4 days a week. So that schedule, I don't recommend. The schedule I have now is basically whatever I want, whenever I want. So Mondays, we have team meetings. I've got 4 team members on my team. So on Monday afternoons, that's the first thing that we do. We sit down, we assess what we're up to. Everybody, is accountable and shares what they're up to so that we all know, including me and especially me because they keep me on point.
Yeah.
And then from Monday or from Tuesday on, Monday is kind of like the day of planning and figuring out what else is going on. I typically open up my calendar for client meetings on 2 days a week. So maybe Tuesday and a Thursday, I've got client meetings. I don't like to schedule or to see them on my schedule at random times because I don't like to go out of the client mode and into the production mode and then back into the client mode. I really like to batch things and chunk things up. So
That's huge. Yeah.
Yeah. Then you're more productive. In the morning, you asked what time do I wake up in the morning? I'm not a morning person. So I'm a night owl. Sometimes I go to bed really late just because I will have my productivity kick in around now, which is 9:30 p.m. for me right now. So all of a sudden I'm like feeling really productive. I can write like 5 blog posts this time and like do all types of things and get them done, especially because the house is quiet and my kids, are sleeping. So I will just like kind of listen to my body and do what works. But the thing that is a non-negotiable in the morning is my mindset, my journaling, looking at my money and having, serious relationship with my money, tracking my money and my money mindset and wealth, creation kind of skills that I think that we all need to develop. Once you leave a corporate job, you now have to ask people for sales. You now have to, ask people to work with you and invest in you. And so that is like a key thing that I work on every single day. So the morning is for that. Sometimes I take a nap in the afternoon because I stayed up so late. I play with my kids. My husband is in and around. I'm kind of a schedule person. My routine is fairly the same, but I'm not great at keeping a schedule, and I'm okay with that these days. I used to think I needed to do things a certain way because successful people will, wake up at 5 a.m. every day. You hear all those things. But I would argue, multiple 6-figure business, I'm pretty successful doing what I do, how it feels good to me.
Yeah, I love that. Like being in the flow, right? Because that's what it's about. It's about living your life exactly how you want and making sure that it's on your on your time and what you feel comfortable doing, and not saying this person told me to do this, so I have to do that, because then you're still in a box. And when you still feel like you're in a box, you're not really in alignment, right? You don't really feel truly in alignment because you feel like if I don't do that, something's going to happen, and you get that feeling inside of almost guilt, right? So I love that you said, you batch things, which is very important to be in that flow and continue in that flow when you're productive, because what happens is it gets easier. It's almost like a genius mode you get into, and then you move forward and you're doing all your clients and they seem to just work out perfectly. And then you go into production or whatever you need and you batch it. But I do love that. A lot of people do that. They're very successful, and that's key because you can get more done in the time when you're staying in focus with one thing. So what that leads us into is wondering what your big vision is for your company. Like, what do you see as your legacy, your worldwide expansion? How do you see yourself growing? And I love that you mentioned you do the money work, which is huge. More women should definitely tap into that and make that a daily process, tracking your money, asking for it. But building a team, right? Those are the things that help you have that free time. And so what do you see yourself with more employees? How big do you see yourself going forward in the future?
So this is where your mind wants to trick you and tell you that you need to be humble and you shouldn't dream so big. You hear those questions and a lot of the time I see women kind of cower and like start playing small when people ask them these questions. So it's really important to claim and own your space and say, like, I see myself being a global brand. I already arguably am a global brand, but I'm talking about like household name. I have had a lot of people when they meet me or they see me or they, see me on stage where I speak, they come up to me after and tell me that I have a thing. They want to see me more. Or they imagine me on, huge stages. And at first that really intimidated me, but I realized, like, in my heart of hearts, that is what I want, because I want to affect change on a large scale. And in order to do that, you need to get a bigger platform. The other thing that I really am dedicated to and obsessed with is to build a school here in South Africa in my mom's name. My mom passed away when I was 14, and it was her dream to build a school for girls. And so that is one of my biggest visions, is to build schools, to work on projects. Right now I'm working on a project to distribute sanitary, I guess I could call them tools for women.
That's fine.
They're called, like, they're cups, and they're reusable cups, and we're giving them away in schools. And so I'm working on that campaign. So my big thing is to make lots and lots of money so that I can have a lot of impact in terms of philanthropy and giving back and helping other people, helping other women, especially here in Africa and here in South Africa, to see that you can do a lot as the head of your business, and that you don't need a man to support you. You don't need a man to lean on. My husband actually supports me in that he's one of my employees. He kind of looks to me for leadership in what we do and in the ideas that we execute. And so this is really unusual in this part of the world. Most people think you need to be led by a man. And I've seen in the aftermath of the election 2016, a lot of women have said they felt like, we can't be led by women. And so my vision is to change that thinking and those feelings, that misogyny that is like deep rooted and internal, even internalized to us, to think that we can't do things. So that is my big future vision, is to really empower millions of women.
Yes, that's absolutely delicious, right? I loved every part of that. Right, I could just feel all of your passion and just know. And I want to say deepest sympathies to you before losing your mom, because I can understand. I lost my dad at 15, and it is just something that you just don't, like, don't get over. But you always have that, like, she's always with you. Like, he's always with me on my birthday. We were born on the same day, so I have that feeling, and I know that for you, this legacy that you're leaving, she's there helping you, right? Giving you that voice that you need, which is so amazing when you tap into that. This leads us perfectly into, what does spiritual alignment look like for you in your eyes, right? Because I feel nowadays that there's so much going on and everything's starting to come to light for people to really start to own their power and say to themselves, wow, there is a different way. Wow, this could be true, not thinking exactly like someone told you in the 80s and then keeping that mindset in the 80s, right? We need to get into the 21st century, but also understand that, we feel these things. What are we feeling? And how is that connection working with us for our business? Because you are your brand. So yeah, how does spiritual alignment look like for you?
For me, building this business has been the biggest spiritual journey that I never expected of my life. And so because of the ups and the downs, because of having to really increase your self-love and your confidence in order to be able to ask people for sales, in order to be someone who's consistent and show up in the community over and over every single day, and to be a leader, to be somebody who helps people, you need to strengthen, for me, I decided I needed to strengthen my own faith and belief in myself and in my higher power. And so I feel I have more faith now than I ever had before, a stronger connection to my spirituality and to God than I ever had before. And lately, the past probably 3-4 months, I've started to talk about that more with my audience. And when I talk about it, it really resonates with them. And I realize that those people are with me on this journey for a reason. They're feeling the same things. And I really feel called. And it doesn't make any sense to me because I coach on business and persuasion and copywriting, but I feel called to teach on spirituality and mindset as well. And that's something that I will be incorporating in my business in future projects, because I think that's the one key to growing your business that a lot of people don't tell you. They don't tell you that this is the secret, literally, to expanding your influence and having more impact in the world. So my spiritual alignment for me looks like feeling like everything is right, and that I am in the right place, and that God is flowing through me all the time, and that I'm always connected, and so that my business is a way for me to impact people and a way for me to spiritually give back in the world. And that's what I do with my clients. I really pour into them and help them increase their faith and their self-belief. And that's something I didn't expect that I would be doing, and all of a sudden I found myself doing it, and it feels really good.
That's amazing. Awesome. That also is great that you can help them with their copy, because then that could really get out their message, right, to their people. So let's just go in a little bit, because I know you do the copywriting, and how you would line up a person, say, if they wanted to get their ideal customer and pull them in, what would be a good little trick to use to persuade a person to be your client? Through copy.
So I'm all about not persuading
Okay.
and like not pushing. I'm helping people in the copy to coach themselves. So
Okay.
the whole point of copywriting is for me to start believing in myself by reading this and going like, oh, this is possible. Oh yeah, I have this struggle. I have this issue. This person totally gets me. Oh my gosh, this is the offer that I've been looking for. And heck yes. And so they sort of move themselves. They have a conversation with themselves as
Yes.
they keep
Okay.
reading. And they uncover their big blinders and their pain spots, and they say yes. Copywriting is very much like having a sales conversation, having a sales call, like on the phone. You go through the same elements, and it's really all about discovering that person's biggest struggles, and also discovering that person's biggest dreams, and kind of exposing the gap between the struggle and the dream, so that people see that they need help now. And I do that a lot by getting on the phone with ideal clients. Maybe, if you haven't worked with clients yet, what I would do is just offer some people to get on the phone with you and hear how they express themselves when they talk about their struggles, how they express themselves when they talk about their idea of success, and infuse your copy with those two things, and you're going to hit a home run.
Perfect. And we're going down to the last two things that we have here, and mostly about technology. Let's tap into that, because so many people forget that technology is here to help you, right? We're still afraid. Some people are like, oh no, I don't want anything to do with that. But how has it helped you grow your business? How have you seen a elevated experience, right, with using technology in your business, with your clients and your reach out throughout the world?
So I wouldn't have a business not for tapping into technology. Literally wouldn't exist. I first started my business by being active in Facebook groups and getting noticed, and people saying, you look like somebody who can write. I want to work with you. And so like people started coming to me. I didn't have to reach out to them because I was active on, social media. And I wasn't even sure what I wanted to do then. I thought I wanted to do life coaching. And so I went through a life coaching course and learned all about that. And next thing I know, people started coming to me for something completely different. I'm like, but I'm not a writer. I'm a life coach. They're like, no, you're a writer. And so I started with Facebook groups. And soon after I started with Facebook groups, Periscope came out. And so, this live streaming app where I could literally hit broadcast from here anytime I wanted to and talk to the world. And I use that baby to like the fullest potential. My first 30 days on Periscope, I committed to going live once to twice a day, even though I had a 2-year-old, even though I had at the time a 9-month-old. I was like, I'm going to find the time. Sometimes the time was 2 a.m. Like it really, I had made a personal commitment to myself and said I was going to do this. And I got on there and I taught on my subject, but I also told stories. I also shared my life. I remember one time somebody asked, like, you're teaching us about all this stuff, but what's your story? And I told my story. It was like 2 a.m. There were like 30 people on the live broadcast. And I was sharing my story about how I lost my mom and how we immigrated to the US and how my big desire was for my business to allow me to move home to South Africa and, getting married to my husband, my previous relationship with my ex-husband and how it was really horrible and abusive. And I just told my whole story. We were all on Periscope crying. Okay. So my audience is like hearts like crazy and they're all telling me they're crying. I'm crying. But that day was a big breakthrough for me because a lot of people came to me and said, I didn't know you went through all that. And I'm going through something like that, or I had been through something like that. And now I see what's possible for me, because if you show up for yourself, I can start showing up for me too. And so that for me allowed me to really build my community. That's where I started. That's how I started building my email list. That's how I started my Facebook group, by doing live streams and by connecting to people every single day. And a lot of people tell me, I don't have an audience. I don't have, an email list. I don't have this. I don't have all the things that you have. And if I tell you that in June 2015, I didn't have all those things either. But what I did have was tenacity and drive and the desire to change. And so I made commitments that I wouldn't break to myself, and I just kept showing up.
Yeah, that is what I call the collaboration, right? Or that integrity with yourself. When you say something, aligned actions, I like to call them, you commit to that action, right? So what people start to do is they say, I want to lose weight or I want to do this, but they don't take the action, right? So they're in inner conflict. So when you're in inner conflict, your vibration, you're sending out one thing, but you're not matching anything because your actions aren't lining up. They're all the way over here. So I love that because I was on Periscope too, and it was literally like the best thing ever. I said I can show up and just have an audience whenever I want, and it's you to pull that audience in, right? But that's it. No one has an audience. You got to create it. You got to be it. I guess that Tony Robbins says, I'm not your guru, but he also says is, who the hell am I? I created it. You know what I mean? Like nobody knew who he was, right? But that brings us down to the last little thing, which is the golden nugget. So if there is something that you would leave the audience with that they could take daily actions with and they would see a better result in their self, maybe the way they communicate, something that's personal or something that you've noticed over the years that you usually tell people and they usually come back to you and say, I want to work with you.
The one thing for me that helped me start making massive change was self-love. And literally being able to look in the mirror, look at your reflection right here and say, I love you. You're awesome. You're amazing because you're smart and you're funny and you have great ideas. And, that is really uncomfortable. If you look in the mirror and you start saying that, we're not used to doing that. We're told not to because that's egotistical or whatever, and you're supposed to be humble. But if you can learn to love yourself and learn to accept that love to and from yourself, you will start to change your entire world. The other thing that you can do is start to discover all the things that you've been saying to yourself that aren't true, that you're stupid or that you're ugly or that you're incapable or that nobody's ever going to work with you or, whatever those things are. Discover those things and decide what the opposite of that thing is, that people do want to work with you, that you do have gifts, that you do have, something amazing to bring to the world, and to focus on those things. When I tell my clients to do that, really the self-love, looking in the mirror, that mirror work, and really just getting rid of the stuff that people have told you and doing that over and over, because it's not once and done. You can't do it today and tell me, well, I'm done for the rest of my life. No, it's like you have to keep up the practice. You can't expect a relationship to flourish if you only work on it like once a month, right? And it's the same with yourself. And the number one tool for growing your business is having a strong mindset. Because if you have a strong mindset, then you can start to believe in yourself. When you believe in yourself, you start to take actions like a winner. And when you start taking action, that's when you get results. So a lot of people tell me they want clarity before they take action, but you'll never get clarity before you take action. You got to take action and see what works, what feels good to you. Like, somebody will come to me and say, I don't know if I should be a web designer or if I should create a team of VAs and like manage VAs. Maybe those are two examples. And I'll say like, well, what do you enjoy? Well, I'm not sure. I think I like them both. Okay, then pick one and do it. And if it works, it feels good, keep doing it. Like let's stop having this conversation of what should I do? Go do something and see if it feels good. The key is if it feels good. If it doesn't feel good, never be afraid to let things go, because that's where you create space for new abundance and new creative, amazing, delicious goodies in your life. So that's my biggest key, is that mindset practice. And the other thing, live video works. Live video is what's grown my business with a very small audience, and allows me to make multiple 5-figure months over and over because of showing up. And webinars are the major thing that if I could go back to my former self in March 2015 and tell myself one thing to do differently, would have been to do webinars from day one.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Yes. Because did I just switch everything? I love the fact that we have to be able to show up consistently every single day. That is huge. But the little steps of the self-love and making sure it comes from within, because what that does, like you said, it builds that belief. It lets you move forward and lets you step into that power, but also say it's okay. I mean, I'm like a yoga instructor, I have to do the things that make me feel good to see if I like them, if it's going to make, like, if I leave the house and say, why I don't want to go, then, obviously there's something there that's saying I'm not going to be doing this the rest of my life, right? But if I didn't go through the whole motions, I really wouldn't feel that feeling. So I want to say thank you so much for being here today. Everyone has learned so much, just because the online world is a very powerful bubble that, a lot of people want to get inside and they're just not sure how, but you definitely enlightened us on some of the tools to use and to better communicate with your audience and get new clients. That's like the first thing to start when growing your business. So now's the time. If you have anything you would love for the audience to know, please share it. And like how they can reach out to you, like what's your Twitter feed or anything like that. We'll also have all the links after too.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. So right now we're in the middle of a crazy launch, like we mentioned before. And my launch, it's not going as I planned. Some things didn't happen. We had some tech glitches, but it's moving. And the important thing for you to know is that a lot of people look at me and think everything's perfect from the outside looking in, but I have my issues too. And so I always love to talk about my failures or, things that didn't work, because I want to show you that this is real. So we're launching Born to Convert, which is our membership community. I have a avid following of people I call my besties, and I have a Facebook group called Copy Besties. And in Copy Besties, I realized that so many people have been wanting to work with me, and they kept telling me, I can't afford it. I can't afford it. I can't afford thousands of dollars. But what they could afford was a membership community where they could get access to me. And so that's what Born to Convert is. And I called it Born to Convert because we're going to be mixing all of the things that I mentioned today. So between, your mindset, success principles, and actually creating that mental profile for success, all the way through to the copywriting tips that I give and business strategy tips, all in there inside the community. And it's not really about the content. It's about the curating that experience of feeling like you belong somewhere and that you have somebody there who has your back, who cares a lot about you, and who wants to see you succeed. So you can join Born to Convert right now. You can go to borntoconvert.com, and the first month is only $7 for our first founding members, and beyond that it'll be $27. So it's a no-brainer way to come and see, do I enjoy being a bestie? Do I like hanging out with Tepsii? And the answer is going to be yes, I promise you. And I'm going to help you become a soulful, conversion machine. That's really important for me, is that a lot of people who come to me in my community are healers, and they're spiritual, and I got a lot of psychics and a lot of writers and designers who are intuitive, and they feel bad charging more, and they feel bad charging at all. And so that's not it. You were born literally to convert and to live an abundant life. And so that's why I created this community. So you can find that, again, borntoconvert.com. And you can find me on Facebook at Tepsii, or facebook.com/Tepsii with 2 I's. So it's Tepsii at the end. On Instagram, Tepsii with a T at the end, same thing. And on Twitter, same handle. So you can find me on all of those places hanging out, but the best place to find me is really on Facebook.
Great. Awesome. This was amazing. I'm so honored to say that I got a chance to meet you in New York a couple of times. And that was because we were in the same groups, right? And then we go to the same events and you see the people there. And it's about the power of social media. It's about the power of being visual online and saying to yourself, let me try. Right? Let me take this first step. Let me take an action that I feel good about and find a community that's going to support me, which is so powerful. So make sure you go out there and check that out. Sounds amazing. I love opportunities where people can grow inside and really find that someone has your back, right? And you're not alone, right? Because that's what you think. You're going through this life alone. There's no one out there who knows my story, but there is. And if you share your story, you're going to find more people you can connect to. So I want to say thank you so much. We're going to be signing off and saying goodbye to everybody. So I want to say thank you, everyone. Make sure that you step out there, unleash your purpose, find that prosperity, and earn that profit that you really want deep down inside, right? So I will let Tepsii say goodbye.
Goodbye. Thank you for having me. And I can't wait to see you online, because that's where you're going to grow.
Awesome, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. We will see you later. Make sure you stay tuned. We got a lot of stuff going on. You can grab all of the actual videos of the speakers. We're going to have them all in a nice little course for you for later, so that you can have your digital library forever, so you can really step into that power and hear what you need to and take the actions that you want to. But stay tuned. We have more speakers coming up later this evening. So I just want to say thank you for being here and have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Okay.